And here's something that may force the West to take radical steps. Russia is getting Chinese weapons. Let me say this again. China is arming Russia in this war. Chinese weapons have been found in Ukraine. Not the most lethal ones yet, but weapons nonetheless. China has sent 1,000 assault rifles and other equipment like drone parts and body armor. Russia is said to have received 12 shipments of drone parts and over 12 tons of Chinese body armor. These supplies fall in the dual-use category, meaning they're available for anybody to buy. They serve a dual purpose, civilian and military. In this case, they do have clear military applications. And when did China send these shipments? Last year, between June and December, multiple Chinese companies are involved in this, but there's one name that stands out. China North Industries Group Corporation Limited. It is one of the largest defense contractors in China, and it is owned by the Chinese state. On the Russian side, a company called Techkrim is said to be involved. It received these shipments. And how did they reach Russia? They were routed through two other countries, Turkey and the UAE. The West has been raising alarms about this for weeks now. It has warned China against supporting Russia.
We've been concerned from day one about that possibility. And to date, we have seen Chinese companies, and of course in China there's really no distinction between private companies and the state. We have seen them provide non-lethal support to Russia for use in Ukraine.
How will the West respond to this? So far, the US has stuck to just warnings that China has simply ignored. Instead, China has blamed the West for this war.
It seems that there is an invisible hand pushing for the protraction and escalation of the conflict. Asia, our Asia-Pacific region, should become an arena for win-win cooperation and not a chessboard for geopolitics. No Cold War should be allowed to be repeated in Asia. The Ukraine crisis should not be repeated in Asia.
The Ukraine crisis should not be repeated in Asia. China has dropped a hint there. It is a hint towards Taiwan and Chinese claims on the island. It should tell you how China views the conflict in Ukraine through the prism of Taiwan. Beijing has some clear takeaways from Russia's war, like the Western unity on Ukraine, the relentless supply of weapons, the sanctions, and the disruption of global supply chains. If China attacks Taiwan, it could be at the receiving end of all of this. So China has been watching closely and shaping its strategy vis-a-vis Ukraine, and the strategy has shifted, or you could say it has evolved. When the war began, Beijing supported Moscow, but only quietly. Perhaps it was hoping for a swift offensive and for Kiev to fall within days. That did not happen. China slammed the Western response. It called it a product of Cold War mentality. It also rejected the sanctions against Russia. But now it may be ready to shift, to support Russia more openly and with weapons. We'll get more clues next week. Xi Jinping will be in Moscow. He has confirmed his visit. He will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin, and this is what he is expected to discuss.
During his state visit to Russia, President Xi Jinping will have an in-depth exchange of views with President Putin on bilateral relations and major international and regional issues of common concern.
It will be a trip for friendship and peace. That is the message from Beijing. What about the Kremlin? It says the leaders will discuss a quote-unquote comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation. Xi Jinping also plans to talk with Zelensky. Reports say he could meet Ukraine's president virtually, and this will be their first conversation since the war began. What will he tell Zelensky? Does he want a peaceful settlement or a bigger role in the conflict? The world is watching China's next move.